මම කොළඹ විසාකා විද්‍යාලයේ චතුනි හංසනි විජය ගුණවර්ධන. මම මෙවර උසස් පෙළ විභාගයේ ගණිතාංශයෙන් දිවයිනේ ප්‍රථම ස්ථානය ලබා ගත්තා. මගේ අරමුණ ඉංජිනේරුවරියක් වීම. ඒ වුණාට මම විශ්වාස කරනවා මගේ ඉදිරි ජීවිතයට කළමනාකරණ දැනුම වැදගත් වෙයි කියලා. ඒ නිසා මම CMA ආයතනයේ කළමනාකරණ ගණකාධිකාරී පාඨමාලාව හදාරන්න තීරණය කරා. මට මේ අවුරුද්දේ ගණිතාංශ විභාගයට පෙනී සිටින නංගිලා මල්ලට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ ඕගොල්ලොත් විභාගය ඉවරුණ ගමන්ම CMA ආයතනය සමග සම්බන්ධ වෙලා මේ පාඨමාලාව හදාරන්න කියලා.
ලෝක පිළිගත් කළමනාකරණ ගණකාධිකාරීවරයෙකු වීමට පාර්ලිමේන්තු පන්තින් සංස්ථාපනය කරන ලද ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ එකම කළමනාකරණ ගණකාධිකාරී ආයතනය CMA ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඔබේ අනාගත ජයග්‍රහණයට
ආයුබෝවන්. So this is an advanced level lesson for you, my dear students, who are facing advanced level examination in Common Stream. So today we are going to discuss about ascertains the need of establishing and maintaining different types of business organizations formally. My dear students, in this lesson we are going to talk about different kinds of business organizations. So when we look at about our content, so you can see first we want to know what is the organization. So the concept we will learn. Then classifies the business organizations in accordance with their ownership. So when we comes to ownership, we can see there are several categories we can categorize according to the ownership. So you can see about sole proprietorship, partnership, incorporated companies, cooperative business, specific businesses, and also public sector business organizations. So these kind of organizations, what are the characteristics of that, and what are the advantages, disadvantages, and how we can compare those together, these things we are going to learn in this lesson. So when we comes to the initial point, first we have to know about what is the organization. That is some kind of a social unit. That should be a social unit made up with a group of individuals. So that is made up with a group of individuals joining together having a common goal is an organization. So this social unit should has a common goal. So this is we can call as an organization. So you can see in your near to your home there may be a school, right, temple, church, shop. So these are some kind of examples for the organizations, right. Then we learn about what are the common characteristics of a formal organizations are given below. So actually in this lesson we are going to talk about different kinds of organizations now. So here we can see there are several characteristics. Here has a goal, that should be a common goal to entire organization, and also involves individuals. So that should comprises with individuals, a group of people, and then has an organizational structure. Don't worry students, we are going to learn one by one so how these organizations comprises, the organizational structure, right. Then business organizations are the enterprises engaged in production, distribution, and selling, can be goods and services. Students, there may be some kind of different objectives. Some organizations, they have objective of earning profits, but some organizations, they may have the objective of achieving social well-being. So students, we will describe and we will discuss about what are the organizations which focus on profit earning and what are the organizations which focus on social well-being, right. So let's get started. So you can see when we first we have to focus on what are the categorization, main categorization. You can see private sector organizations and public sector organizations. When we go through with the hierarchy, you can see business organizations can be categorized basically into private sector business organization and public sector organizations. So when we comes to know about the private sector business organizations, we can see Sole proprietorship is there, partnerships, incorporated companies, and cooperative societies. When we go to the public sector business organizations, we can see what are the businesses under central government and what are the businesses under provincial council and what are the businesses under local authorities. So when we comes to business under central government, we can see there are so many departments, there are state corporations and state companies, right? So first, what is this? Sole proprietorship with a one individual. So normally sole proprietorship started with a one individual, right? So we can see where the ownership of the business is held by a single individual is called as a sole proprietorship. Let's say, for example, we can see Chanuli Supercenter, Dasata Bookshop, Imalka Salon, right? So many businesses you can see all around. When you go out to the town area or your village, so you can see there are several shops with a one name and with a one owner. So these kind of organizations we can categorize as a sole proprietorship. So then we're going to learn about what are the significant characteristics can be observed in a sole proprietorship. There are many more, but so when we comes to know that the owner provides the capital required on his own. So he is not asking for someone, so there are no parties joined together. Only one person is there and he provides the capital as required. And also all managerial decisions are made by the owner. So no one to ask, no one to join, there are no any groups like. So only one owner, he is the person who is taking all the managerial decisions. Then the unlimited liability of the owner. So the liability we cannot limit actually. So in this kind of organizations, the owner has unlimited liability and not a legal entity. What is the legal entity? Legal entity is where the organization and the owner we can recognize as a two entities. But here we don't recognize as such. The owner and the organization seems to be a one person. So that is actually we can call as a not a legal entity. Then registration is not compulsory. We don't have to follow some kind of regulations, constitutes in order to register. Registration is not compulsory actually. Then enjoy profits and losses alone. So this is some kind of a trick actually. So if I'm a sole proprietor, so if I have some profits, I can enjoy myself. No need to distribute by others. But vice versa, if I faces losses, I have to bear alone. Then faces risk alone. So whenever if we have to encounter risk, we have to face alone. Then no continuity. So that means there are no any going concern concept there. So we don't assume we have a going concern concept. There are no continuity. Accounting is not compulsory. If you go and ask the grocery shop, there's a Mudalali we can call. So if you ask, do you have accounting records? Most probably they will have, but that depends on the owner's decisions. So that having accounting record is not necessary and not liable for the taxes in the name of business. So this is another characteristics we can see. When we talk about the registration of name, we can see that if a sole proprietorship business is carried on in a name other than the full name of the owner, let's say for example, Nimal Pereira, he is the one who is owning a small shop, a bookshop. Nimal Pereira bookshop. So that is with his full name. But let's imagine that he is having a shop called Carmel Lanka likewise, that is opposite from the name. So that is not his full name. So in that scenario, it is compulsory to register the business name in the provincial council's provincial business name registrar. under the business name Ordinance number 6 of 1918. So there is a regulation there, so you have to follow that, because the reason is if you are using another name other than your full name, so anyway you have to get the permission for that. You have to register that name. So we'll see how we can register that, the registration process. First, what you want to do, obtain an application form for the registration of business names of sole proprietorship business from the divisional secretariat office of the area. So you have to take that application form and fill out. So you can collect that from the divisional secretariat office in your area, right? So then obtaining a report for the registration of a business name from whom? From Gramanilidari. So there is a report, so you can request from your Gramanilidari. So I just want to register my business name, so give me a report. So that report is provided by Gramanilidari in your area. Then submission of the completed registration form, which I mentioned previously, the application form should be duly completed, and the report obtained from the Gramanilidari with the registration fee you have to submit to the divisional secretary. So that is your third step. After finalizing these all, then you can have your certificate of registration. Dear students, when you learn these kind of steps, just imagine by yourself, you are the one who is going to start a sole proprietorship. Then you are a sole proprietor. So how I want to register my business name? First I have to fill the application form. I can collect it from divisional secretariat office. Then what I have to do? Then I have to get a report for that registration of a business name from whom? From Gramanilidari. Then again you have to collect this completed registration form along with the report, and you have to pay a registration fee as well. If all these are completed, then what you have to do next? So you can submit that. Then submit to the divisional secretary, and then from the divisional secretary you can get the certificate of registration, that document. So that is the thing, right? So now you are allowed to commence your business under that name. So that is the process we can follow in the registration process under which business category? Under sole proprietorship, right? Then when we talk about the partnership, that is another category we can see when we comes to know about business organizations. You can see in the partnership audience 890, the partnership is defined as follows. We'll see the relationship between the individuals who carry out a business with a profit motive is partnership. So whatever the business, if there are people, right, who the main ambition is to follow a profit, right, there should be individuals who carried out a business with a profit motive, we can call it as a partnership. Then according to the above definition, so you have to know that there are several characteristics in the partnership. There should be a profit generating objectives. There are many more profit generating objectives. What are the objectives of the business? And the existence of the business activities. So business activity should be there. Whether like they are manufacturing goods or a service, that should be there. And existence of the individuals. So individuals, how many individuals, right? 2 or more people should be there. And the maximum limit is actually 20 partners, minimum limit is 2 partners. Then having a mutual relationship. So you know, if we form a group, the group members or a team members, they should have a mutual understanding with them. Otherwise, it's too difficult for us to carry out that business. So that mutual relationship should be there. For example, Gunawardhan and company. So we'll see some specific characteristics of the partnership argument. So you can see there should be a minimum 2 partners and maximum 20 partners. And the other thing, there must be an agreement between the partners. Without agreement, it is some kind of a riskier thing to start, because there should be agreement, partnership agreement. According to that only we have to engage with the partnership business activities. Then having an agreement on profit sharing. So, how they share their profits, equal basis, or what's the ratio, proportionate base. So, we have to know. Then every partner is an agent and a head of himself and other partners. So, we know one particular partner should be a head to another partner and also a partner. So, this relationship should be there. Then the existence of any kind of business affair. So, we can see there are many more business affairs, so that should be existence, right. Then when we go to the partnership agreement, that is the most important document we can see. We will see what is that. That comprises with the terms and conditions agreed on by partners at the very beginning of a partnership regarding its initiation and succession. So, how they are going to do this work, A to Z, that should be there. Then only that will be easier for all partners to carry that business. Then a partnership agreement can be oral, can be written, can be implied, right. So, these three methods they can use. But for written partnership agreement, if that is some kind of a written agreement between the partners, that is most effective one actually, because in future circumstances we can use that as our evidence or a proof, because that is written. So, that is written agreement between the partners we can call as what? Partnership deed or the partnership constitution. So, this is the word we are using for the written agreement between partners, right. So, when we go through the partnership deed, so what are the information we can see? So, we can see the basic information about the business, what is the business name, and what is the names and addresses of the partners who are joining with us, and the nature of business and how long it will last, from which date to which date. So, this information should be there in the partnership agreement. Then details about the investment of capital. So, how much of capital they invest. Then again information on sharing profits and losses. Is it a equal basis or a proportion basis? What's the proportion likewise? It should be there. Then the objective of the partnership, because we all know in order to establish a business, we have to have an objective. No? So, what's the objective of establishing this kind of a partnership? Then limitations of the partnership's drawings. This is also another important thing, because you know sometimes partners they tend to withdraw money for their personal use from the business. So, that is we call as a drawing. So, we have to, a partner should maintain a record how much they withdraw and on which date, in order to track these records, as well as don't forget, my dear students, that drawings interest and the capital interest also should be there in the partnership deed. That is the next point you can see. Then the conditions on the dissolution of the partnership. So, in which circumstances we can dissolve the partnership. So, that information also should be there, and in which date and what are the reasons for the dissolutions, right. So, what are the circumstances we have to specifically mention. I am always in use we like I told you before. You are my students, but always when you study these things, just imagine you are the sole proprietor when you study the sole proprietorship. You are a partner when you study the partnership. Likewise, live with the moment, then you can memorize, it's very easy. Then conditions on the investment of the additional capital. So, whenever it requires the additional capital, so what are the conditions, right? Then to the action to be taken in the relevant of admission of partner, retirement of an existing partner, or death of a partner. So, these students, these information also we want to know, right? What will be our actions towards the event of an admission of a new partner? So what are the conditions should fulfill, and how we have to react when existing partner, when there's a retirement of an existing partner or else the death, right? These sort of things we have to initially recognize how we have to, how partners should act, what are the actions in order to, let's say for example, if there is some kind of retirement of existing partner, so what will be the next step, right? Whether they are going to recruit another one, join another one, or just keep it as it is likewise. Then, so this is a quick snapshot you can see. So when we go through with the criteria, we can categorize into these two, sole proprietorship and partnership. We can see number of people, single individual, we can see in the sole proprietorship, and the partnership that a minimum of 2 members and maximum of 20. So when we comes to know about the capital investment, investment by the owner alone in the sole proprietorship, but in partnership invested by the partners. Then when it comes to the management, we can see the management is performed by the owner because that's the only person, and the partnership performed by the partners. Liability we know solely responsible, so liability is rely completely to that individual in the sole proprietor, but when it comes to partnership that we can share. Then decision making, so all the decisions taking alone by the sole proprietor, but when it comes to partnership, so that that is the collective decision making actually. Then dissolution of business termination, actually there are no any dissolution methods, or the termination of the business can be done as desired. Let's say for example, if I am a sole proprietor, I can dissolve my company as I wish, right? There are no any some kind of thing, some kind of a rules, regulations, specific dates, right? We don't have. But in partnerships, dissolution may be voluntary. So with the consent of all partners, they can dissolve, or else as a result of court order. Let's say for example, the majority. Some people, some partners, they likes to dissolve this. Some partners, they if they don't like to dissolve, so in that circumstances, they have to go for a court order likewise. Then when we have to discuss about the incorporated company, that is also another kind of organizations type we can see. So when we comes to the incorporated companies, we can see a collection of individuals incorporated under Companies Act number 7 of 2007 can be introduced as a company. So what is the act, students? Number 7 of 2000, Companies Act number 7 of 2007. Right? Then, for example, Aralia Company Limited, Pratibha Private Limited. So you can see lots of companies in all around, right? So given below are the some specific characteristics of the incorporated companies we will see. First one is being an independent entity incorporated under the Company Act. So these kind of companies should incorporated under the Company Act number 7 of 2007. And also whatever the things they are like including there, so they have to adhere to the Company Act. Then as well as becoming an independent legal entity that is distinct its shareholders. That means they have some kind of a distinction between the that is some kind of a legal entity. So you know the shareholders and the companies are two different parties, right? There is a distinct between them. And continuous existence of liability or existence or ability to have perpetual succession. That means they have some kind of assumption, a going concern assumption, perpetual succession. So there are no any deadline, no any date for that one. The liability of members, shareholders are being limited actually. So not like sole proprietorship, in corporate companies, the members, shareholders, the liability of them are limited. And also accumulation of the capital through share issues, normally how they are going to raise capital by issuing shares. Then ability to transfer in shares, that a chance also there. If I want to, let's say for example, if I buy a share from a John Keels, then I can transfer my share to another person with having funds. Likewise, the sharing transferring option is also there. Then the management being carried out by the board of directors. So that management, the administration, so these kind of things totally run by board of directors. We can see the board of directors are there. Then when we understand about the procedure should be followed when incorporating a company, first thing is we have to understand you have to register the name of the company. So what is the name? You have to register that one. Then, right, more specifically, when it is confirmed that the proposed name of the company is not similar or identical as the name of the existing company, the following documents have to be submitted for the registration. There are several documents we have to submit in order to process the registration. So we'll see what are those. You can see application of the registration of a company. So you have to just complete, you have to get the application for the registration of the company and fill that. So that the information comprises with the name of the organization, the address, right, the name of the shareholders, the director's name, then is there any secretary's address, likewise we can fill. Then the articles of associations. My dear students, this articles of association is a main or a, on the other hand, this is very important document all should possess. I will come to that point next, right? The statement containing the consent of each founder to act as the director. So it should be the first, the appointment of the directors. So they should give a report or a consent statement that they are willing to act as a director of this company. And on the other hand, the statement containing the consent of the founder secretary to act in that company. So there should be another consent statement from a secretary to act as the secretary of that company. So that is another thing. So if you are having these, my dear students, if these documents, 4 documents, what are the 4 documents? Application form, the articles of association, the consent statement by directors, initial directors, and the consent statement by initial secretary. So if those documents are ready, then you can proceed with that. So then what you have to do, then all the documents are in order, that the relevant fees, you have to pay some kind of a registration fee along with that. Then registrar of companies, they will issue the certificate of incorporation. So the third point I will explain now. So when we comes to the articles of association, students, that is the most important document, as I mentioned before. So what are the informations we can see there? We can see the articles, the objectives of company, right? What are the objectives, the rights, and what are the rights, what are the responsibilities of the shareholders, and what are the information and how the management administration process going on. So these kind of necessary informations are there in the articles of association. Actually, this document should submitted to the registrar of the companies, right? So this is also another important document. So with the application form, with the articles of association, and this consent statement from the initial directors and the consent statement from the initial secretary. So these 4 documents should be submitted to the registrar of companies. Then only you can get, after that we can get the certificate of incorporation, right? Right. So here you can see the categorization of the incorporated companies according to the Companies Act number 7 of 2007. So here you can see limited companies are there, unlimited companies are there, and companies limited by guarantee are also there, right? Then when we goes to the limited companies, by the name itself we know that is limited. So these kind of companies are limited to the value of shares by shareholders only, right? That is limited to that share value only. So here we can categorize it into private limited companies, public limited companies and offshore companies. So here how we can categorize that thing. Private limited companies are the companies, they can only issue, they don't allow to issue to the general public, right? They are privately owned. So they don't issue shares to the general public, right? So you can see there are shareholders maximum up to 50, right? Then for example Lanka Clear Private Limited. When we goes to public limited companies, by the name itself it describes that the shareholders, these kind of companies, they can issue shares to the general public as well. So they are openly invited to all of them, right? So these kind of organizations, there are no any upper limit of shareholders, right? So here we can see there are another further categorization, listed companies and non-listed companies. Listed companies are the companies, these companies are listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange. Let's say for example DFCC Bank PLC, if you go through with the Colombo Stock Exchange website, you can see plenty of listed companies are there categorized into the certain industry classification. Then what are the non-listed companies? Vice versa, these companies are not listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange, right? Then we go to the offshore companies. These companies, so normally these companies are constituted in a particular country, but the business operations carried out in another country. Let's say for example, if a business constituted in Sri Lanka, but the business activities, business operations carried out in New Zealand. So two different countries, right? So in this case, these kind of offshore companies always adhere to these both the constitutions of the both countries, right? They don't they are not allowed to focus on only one country where it's constitute, where it incorporated. So they have to adapt to the both countries laws and regulations. Then we comes to the unlimited liabilities. We know these kind of organizations, these are kind of companies, they are not limited to the value of shares. So the shareholders share value, these kind of companies, they are not limited to that certain circumstance. And when we comes to companies limited by guarantee, so these are kind of organizations, the companies, they don't issue shares actually. So they are issuing some kind of dividends and all according to the articles of association. So let's say for example Colombo Stock Exchange GTA Limited. So when we goes to cooperative societies, that is another important societies, especially in developing countries like Sri Lanka, we do have these kind of cooperative societies. So if I tell this thing, suddenly your mind will recall the Coop City, right? So these kind of organizations, they are doing this kind of social. Other than earning profits, their main focus goes to the economical values, cultural values, right? Social needs likewise. Then you can see the International Cooperative Alliance has defined the cooperative sector business as follows. A cooperative is an autonomous association of people united voluntarily. Most important thing, they are actually the people united voluntarily in their common economic, social and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled entity. So these kind of enterprises, my dear students, actually they are voluntarily like team up, and they are doing some kind of thing with the jointly on as well as all the decisions and all the things. These are by the democratically way. For examples, Maharagama Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited, Cloth Weavers Cooperative Society Limited, Fisheries Cooperative Society Limited. So we'll see what are the specific characteristics under cooperative business, right? First one is this kind of business, right? We can see that independence. This is an independent business organization, right? And also This type of cooperative businesses comprises of a group of individuals who have got together voluntarily. So they team up with the voluntary basis, right? Another important thing is collective ownership of its members. So students, when we talk about incorporated companies, we always talk about shareholders, no? But when we discussed about the cooperative societies, we called as members, right? So always there is a collective membership. And also don't forget there is a common need, they are having a common need and the some kind of expectations, and democratically controlled. These kind of organizations, students, those are democratically controlled. So they don't have some kind of autocratic nature. So all the decisions made by together, right? They don't have the upper limit or lower limit. So all the organization members, they have a team together and they are taking decisions. Then value of share is unchanged, not like incorporated companies. Because when you see Putta, here you can see in the share market, Colombo Stock Exchange, the share prices are fluctuating. Not like that. Cooperative societies, the share value is constant. Then having one vote for each member, and as finally, profit making is not the initial object. So you have to memorize that as well, because we know most of the organizations, their prime motive is to earn profit, no? But this kind of cooperative societies, their main objective is not profit sharing, right? So when we comes to know about the procedure, right? Procedure to be followed when registering cooperative society. This is registered under the Cooperative Development Commissioner of the Cooperative Development Department in accordance with the Cooperative Societies Act number 5 of 1972 under the Cooperative Development Commission of the relevant Provincial Council. Here students, first you have to know what's the act, right? It incorporated. Cooperative Societies Act number 5 of 1972. So that is the main act it affects, right? And also this is possessed under the Cooperative Development Commissioner of the relevant Provincial Council. So that Cooperative Development Commissioner should report to the Cooperative Development Commissioner of the Cooperative Development Department, right? From that hierarchy onwards, it's flow like that. In order to get a cooperative society registered, any 10 members, but there's a age limit, right? Who are above 18 may apply to the Cooperative Development Commissioner together with the followings. Students, here we can see there are several documents also here. First, you have to complete the application form. So, like this business registered as a cooperative society. So, this is the name, suggested name, and the names and the addresses of the members and the names of the location, that place, right? These kind of things should be there. And 2 copies of the interim constitution, as well feasibility report of the proposed economic activity. So, let us say you are going to launch a Coop City. So, how you are going to do that? So, feasibility analysis, right, should be there. The financial feasibility, economic feasibility should be there, how that feasibility comes up. Then the minutes of the general meeting at which the resolution of the registering of the cooperative society was approved. So, with there is some kind of the general meeting. From the general meeting, you have to provide the minutes, right? Minutes of which the resolution for the registering of the cooperative. So, this is the organization we are registering as the cooperative society. Then a certificate ascertaining that all those who have signed the application form have paid their membership fee, and that this fee is under the custody of the working committee. So, all the members who are in that cooperative society should pay their relevant membership fee, and that membership fee fund should be there in the custody of the working committee, right? So, and the final one, a route map giving directions to the address of the society. So, how you can go to that place? Simply a map, right? So with these all information, with these all documents, so the Cooperative Development Commissioner will inspect and confirm after that only that he issued a certificate of registration document. So most importantly, when the Cooperative Development Commissioner has inspected and confirmed that the document, right, supporting the application for the registration is in order in accordance with the Cooperative Act, right. So, if these documents are duly filled, application form is there, then 2 copies of interim constitution and feasibility report, as well as there should be a general meeting minutes, and also a certificate ascertaining with the all signature of the members who have paid the membership fee, and that membership fee should be in the custody of the working committee. At last, the route map. So, if these documents are there, where after the inspection and the confirmation given by confirmation given by the Cooperative Development Commissioner, so he will issue the certificate of registration. That is the process where we can learn about the cooperative societies registration process, right? Right. There's another category, specific business. Right. Students, by looking this picture, what you can say? So, McDonald's are there, Starbucks, Domino Pizza, KFC, Burger King, right? I'm pretty sure that, right? You may like enjoy with one of the products. More specifically, when we talk about the specific business, students, there are many more varieties. So, this is the variety, this is the category where we can call as a franchises, right, franchises. Here we can see franchises are the types of business organization which is conducted by a particular business firm involved in provision with a certain goods or services in order to assign the authority of selling that good or services to another business organization. In simple, students, here it says that, so a company or an organization, right, that entity allows another organization to produce a similar kind of products and services. That permission is granted to another organization. So, we will see the organization where, right, there are actually mainly 2 parties are involved in the franchise business. You can see first one is franchisor, second one is franchisee, right. Franchisor is the franchising company that permits the franchisee company to market the products under its brand name, right. Always franchisor allows, or else in other terms permits, right, the franchisee company to market the products under their brand name. Then franchisee is the company where it receives permission from the franchisor company. That's simple, right. So, let us say some examples for that one. You can see franchisors, McDonald's. McDonald's are the franchisor. They are giving their brand name to Abans Restaurant Private Limited in order to do their operations, in order to sell their products, right, that under Abans Restaurants. Then KFC is the franchisor. So, that franchisor gives the permission, the permit to market their products on the brand names of Cargill Ceylon Limited. You can see there are much more credit card offers there. The Cargill Ceylon Limited, they are giving some kind of a, you can see the discounts for the credit cards. So, if you purchase from the KFC, so this much of discount you are allowed. Likewise, these are some kind of results derived from this kind of business. Then Pizza Hut is a franchisor. They are giving permissions to the franchisee called Gamma Pizza Craft Lanka Private Companies, right. Then most important, franchise agreement. You know, students, we cannot proceed the franchise business without an agreement. There should be agreement. So, it included all the things, right, between franchisor and franchisee. So, both parties should agree on these terms and conditions, then only this franchise business can process, right? Then you can see there are some kind of categorization: product franchises, manufacturing franchises, business format franchises, right? In the names itself, it indicates that product franchises are the franchises such that the franchisee receives authorization to purchase goods from the franchisor with the brand name and to resell them are the known as product franchise. Here in simple, these kind of which kind of product franchises, always they are giving permission to another organization use our brand name and you can resell our products as it is, right? Let's say for example, outlets selling petroleum products, IOC fuel solution stations likewise. In manufacturing franchises, you can see where the franchisee receives the authority of manufacturing and distributing the products. Not like product franchises. Product franchises, they can just purchase goods from the franchisor and they can resell, no. In manufacturing franchises, what you can do, franchisee can manufacture that product under the brand name and they can distribute, right? So manufacturing is there, right? That's why the names itself implies that manufacturing franchises. Then business format franchises, where the franchisee receives permission to carry on the business following franchises procedures with its brand name. So they can carry their business. Let's say for example, outlets similar to McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut. You can see if you go to the KFC, Pizza Hut, the same the format, the same appearance, right? And also the recipe is also same. So these kind of franchises we can categorize as business format franchises, right? So they are actually doing same procedure with the brand name, right? Okay. Then we comes to the business combinations. So this is also another important thing, right? So this is a trend in the business field to act as business combination. So more here it says that two or more business and engaging in business activities can be introduced as business combination. So there can be two or more businesses if they all together combine. So that is we can call as a business combination. So business combinations can be happen in two ways. First one is the mergers or amalgamation. The second one is acquisitions. You can see mergers is very simple. There can be two or more businesses converted into a single business. Let's say for example, LOLC, Finance PLC, and so that is actually an acquisition. So let's say for example, Union Assurance and Asian Alliance, so they are together having some kind of a merger. And also this may be practiced as one company purchasing the assets and liabilities of another company, right? Another company. Then acquisitions. In an acquisitions, what happen? One company purchases a majority of shares from another company, right? And this then that company has that power to control that company, that is acquiring. So recently, you know, in 2018 March, LOLC Finance PLC acquired LOLC LOLC microcredit, and also SoftLogic they acquired Odell, right? These kind of acquisitions also there. Then, okay, when we comes to know about business combination through amalgamation or acquisition, we can categorize as three, right? Horizontal combinations, vertical combinations, and conglomerate combinations. You can see the horizontal axis: timber supplier, furniture manufacturer, furniture seller. So within the you can see within the same industry different stages: timber supplier, furniture manufacturer, and timber furniture seller. And when you go to the horizontal combination, same sort of industries, similar kind of industries merging together. And then conglomerate combination is the combination where different sectors combine together, right? So Cargill supermarket, they just if the Cargill supermarket combined with another insurance company, so two different sectors, right? So likewise, the let's say shoe manufacturing companies combined with a tobacco company, right? These are some kind of examples. Then when we have to learn about the public sector business organizations. So here you can see all the businesses carried out and controlled by the state or a local authority, we can call as the state sector or public sector enterprises. So here we can see these kind of organizations, all they think about benefit of the general public. Other than having the motive of earning profits, their prime motive is to cater to the society, cater to the public. They just want to give something to the public, right? The social well-being. Then the state sector, why these state sector companies involved with this, right? We'll see. One reason is to control the pricing levels in the market, because we know if all the companies owned by private sector, so private sector companies, they can influence adversely to the general public. So in order to prevent that kind of things, public sector organizations, they control the pricing levels, right? They just involve with that. And to prevent the emergence of monopolistic firms, so whatever the banking sector comes, you know that most like some situations, the government doesn't allow to purchase fully 100% ownership. They don't give to general public, the private sector organizations. Why? In order to prevent the monopolistic firms to engage in business fields that are required for national defense. So defense authorities, all these things controlled by government, and to provide the essential goods and services, the electricity, so these kind of essential things always owned by the public sector organization. Otherwise, if these essential goods and services owned by private sector organizations, they can adversely impact to the general public. So they can demand their self. So that is not good. To minimize the wastage of natural resources, right? The other thing is to maintain non-profit making large scale projects like highway projects, right? So huge constructions, huge buildings, these kind of things all monitored by government sector, right? Then when we comes to know about the different categories of state sector business organizations, we can see state corporations are there, statutory boards, right? Sri Lanka Transport Board, Mahavali Authority of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Rupani Corporation, these kind of organizations we can categorize as state corporations or as statutory boards. And then government departments, education departments are there, right? Agriculture department, health department, department of government railways. So all those things we can categorize under government departments. And the state companies, Sri Lanka Insurance Company Limited, Lanka Phosphate Company Limited, Sri Lanka Telecom, Litrogas Limited, right? And the other thing is businesses under provincial councils and local authority. Right, these are the some kind of categorizations when we can see when we discussed about the state sector businesses. So students, here, before wind up my the session, so I want to summarize few points to you all. Dear students, you know that when we learn about the organization types, different types of the organizations, first we have to understand what is this organization, the concept, right? That is some kind of a social entity, comprises with group of people, right? They have some kind of a common goal. So common goal is there, then there are some kind of group of people, and also there is a structured or some kind of a organization structure is there, right? So you have to memorize that thing. And again, we discussed about sole proprietorship organizations, then we discussed about partnerships, then we discussed about specific businesses, then cooperative societies, incorporated companies, and also cooperative societies, right? So these kind of things are also there. So what is that sole proprietorship? That is owned by one person, one individual, right? Partnership. More than two people possess that one in order to earn profits. So that is a partnership, right? Then incorporated companies. There are several categories, right? You know that private. So you know that. So here that the private limited companies are there, public limited companies are there, right? And the offshore companies are there, right? You know, under the private limited companies, you know that under the public limited companies, you know that there's a listed companies and non-listed companies. So then we talk about the cooperative societies. Their main aim is to cater to the public, right? And also we talk about some kind of a specific businesses like business combinations, acquisitions and franchises, right? So students, first you know want to understand about the characteristics and what are the limitations, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, how we can compare, right? So these are the things you want to know about this lesson. So students, I hope you got an understanding about this lesson, and I wish you all the very best for your A-level examination, and thank you very much.